right. So let's get into the particulars of the case. I'll begin with you, Carolyn. The two sisters, their mother, Teresa Jones, went missing back in February of 2023. How did they know to reach out to you?
Yeah, so Brittany, the younger of the two daughters, reached out to me because she had been following me on social media. She lost her father when she was really young. So about 12 years old, her father committed suicide. So she had a really hard time with that. Um, she was raised to be God-fearing in a really Christian environment, and so she wasn't privy on mediums or psychics, but she had seen some articles or, read about me somewhere and knew that I had solved some other missing persons cases. So she figured, hey, she's the real deal if she's locating people. So she just started following me on a whim, not knowing that her mom would eventually go missing and she would need to reach out to me.
So just give us the the details about the disappearance of Teresa Jones on February 2nd, 2023. What do we know?
We know a lot. We know a lot. So I'm not able to speak of everything that I know. I think what's been shared on air and with media has probably been about 10% of what I gave them. So, without giving too many details right now, because I mean, they've closed the case, right? I believe they closed the case prematurely. I'm considering it as an open case, as is Greg, as is the family. Like, we're not done with Teresa's case right now. So basically, when they called me, well, they contacted me at about 11 p.m. on, I believe, February 5th. So just a few days following their mom going missing. The police had already, questioned people and done their search with, including a canine unit. And I believe they were only out there for like one day with the canine unit and the search party and everything. And they came up empty handed. They had nothing. Nothing, like no clues at all. So they were kind of, the daughters were left out to sea in a way. They were just really stressed out and worried about it. So Brittany said that the first thing that popped into her head was me because she had been following me on Facebook. So just on a whim, she reached out to me at about 11 o'clock at night and just asked me, will you help me find my mother? Like my mom's missing. Can you help me find my mom? And I don't know, as a mother and a daughter, it just it struck me. I how can you say no, right?
Yeah.
I had just finished giving a 2.5 hour medical reading and I was exhausted. I get migraines, chronic migraines when I do readings sometimes. So I wasn't in the right headspace necessarily, like, or the ideal headspace, I would say. Um, but I just wanted to help the girls as best as I could. So I said, go ahead and take notes and write down everything that I say. And her mom came through to me immediately. I began getting what she looks like, um, the area that she lived in, specific details about her home and her environment, her personality, interpersonal relationships with people that she was, I don't know, like friends with, family with, everybody around her.
Is she
It kind
communicating
of
this
like,
to you? Sorry, Carolyn, is she
no,
communicating
go.
this to you, or are you just getting a flood of images?
It's both. It's both. I don't know. It's hard to put in terms that people would understand here that don't have this gift. I try. It's hard. So I get imagery. I get basically like movies, like so I get scenes played out through my mind. I also get the person in spirit, so they are physically with me. I see them. It kind of switches, you know what I mean, back and forth. Um, I don't get audio. I get telepathy. So it's just a different type of language. It's a lot easier actually than our language. It's quicker. You almost get downloads of information. It's kind of like if you were to put a JPEG into your computer and download a whole bunch of information, and then you'd have to go through it on your screen to decipher and to pull apart all of that information. Sort of similar to that, if that makes sense.
Right. So Teresa Jones, 56 years old. She has two adult daughters, some
Mhm.
grandchildren.
Mm.
living in Bernice, Louisiana, just outside of Farmerville, Louisiana. When she appeared to you in spirit, what did she look like?
Well, she was really relaxed. Like she just looked like a chill person. You could tell that she was probably very beautiful in her youth. She was still beautiful, to this day, but you could tell that she was a looker. She told me that, she always dated below her level. I guess like people would always tell her that, she was too good looking for so and so, and you know what I mean? And she lived in a small town. I got the knowing that like people had complimented her whole life. You could be an actress, things like that. Um, I saw her at a bonfire in her backyard with her family and her friends. And she was just laughing, and she has this laugh that like just comes from the belly. You can't not laugh when she's laughing, right? She kind of has this like Janis Joplin vibe to her a little bit because she's pretty chill, and this raspy kind of like laugh that's awesome. I know I say I can't hear, but I can hear in my mind, so it's a little bit different.
Right.
So I get, an image of her outside. She's smoking a cigarette. She tells me that she only smokes menthol cigarettes and she's never bought a pack. She only bums them. So she's someone who bums cigarettes but only will bum menthol. So this is like little intricate things, details that nobody would know by looking her up, or, anything like that. Just she's establishing her character to me,
Right. And
and
as
also
you're getting
establishing trust.
right, establishing trust. Okay. And as
Yes.
he's communicating these images to you and these minute details, intimate
Mm,
details, are
mm.
you communicating these back to Brittany, her daughter,
Yes.
sort of as validation?
Correct. So I don't have anybody speak on the phone. Yes or no is fine. I'm just bringing this through. I'm like, do you understand, right? What I'm saying, so I can move on to the next thing. And I just get yeses or I don't know. And when she says I don't know, then I just say write it down anyways. It doesn't matter. Just keep writing it down. Um, she then she shows me the relationship with people and then takes me inside of her home. And she kind of says, I know it's not that fancy. I know people say, trailer is like trailer trash, and there's like a bad reputation for that. But she shows me that she's kind of OCD and she keeps a very tidy, clean house. And I go inside of her house. I enter in with her in my mind. And she goes straight to it, straight to the day that she went missing. And I begin seeing everything that went on, who she was talking to, uh, where items were left before she disappeared. Um, just very, very intricate details. Halfway through the reading, because I'm not able to share a bunch of those details at this point because uh, it's an open case to us, okay? So I just unfortunately can't share those details yet. Um, but she showed me what where people worked, what their jobs are, what her retirement plan was. And it was really specific to her. You know what I mean? Just like things that you would never know by looking at social media or anything like that. She then stops me and shows me another woman on the phone listening in on mute. Okay. And I can see what this girl looks like. She has redder hair, like a strawberry blonde. And she shows me that the two sisters that are on the phone, the one that called me, Brittany, okay, she's in one state, closer to me. And then the other sister, she shows me that they're half sisters, they're half blood, both related through mother, through her. So she birthed them both, they have different dads. So I'm gathering all this information. She says Ashley is on the phone on mute from Louisiana, and she tells me she lives right by me. So she's the closest one to me. She's on mute right now. Have her take really good notes because I'm now going to give you directions from my home to where my body is.
Wow.
Okay. And she says, she really has to listen. So I ask, hey, Brittany, is your sister on mute right now in Louisiana? And she says, no, ma'am. I assure you it's just us. And I kind of just laughed because her mom looked at me in like a mom way, like, okay, you know what I mean? Like she's not telling the truth, she kind of smiled. And I go, okay, well, if she is, I'm like, have her take very thorough notes, and I'm going to give her instructions right now, and she's going to want to follow them exactly to her mom's body. Okay. So I hear, it's just us. And so Anyway, I go on and I give them instructions. She tells me to start from her home, and then she tells them to go south, from her home, from a specific spot in her home, to walk south till she hits a wood line, and then go southwest until she hits this prominent log that's going to make her stop in her path. And there should be a creek behind it. And that's where her body is. Okay. So there's some other details there, but that's like the gist of it.
Right, right.
And so the next day, Ashley calls me, and you know, she identifies herself as Teresa's daughter. She calls me, she says, "Hi, Carolyn, this is Ashley. I'm Teresa's daughter. I'm the one you saw on the phone on mute." She says, "I'm so sorry for lying to you." And
Mm,
she was so apologetic, just apologizing up and down for lying. She said, "I'm not a liar. I can't, I felt so bad about this. I wanted to call you and let you know that I found Mama's body exactly where you said she would be."